as online teaching tools and platforms have grown more sophisticated in recent years, colleges are needing to figure out how technology should and should not be used to address the unique needs of these new kinds of student populations. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today.
I think the crucial question is, and when we're thinking about online and all of the new discussion that we're having about the shape of higher education, is what happens to students who arrive with low academic skills. That's often not discussed.
But when you look at the learning science, I mean, Tom is right on in saying, I didn't quite say it this way, but the demographics are a descriptor of challenges, but they don't actually describe what you need to do. They describe where a number of problems have arisen in higher concentrations. But when you ask, what can we do, you have to go after things like what masteries are missing, both conscious masteries and also non-conscious fluencies. You also have to look at attitudes about learning, things about a lot of students coming in from more challenged backgrounds think that if they have to work hard, it means they're stupid, or it means they're in the wrong field. It should be easy for me, right, if I'm good at this. And they get it actually exactly backwards from what learning science says. You got to actually apply yourself, and it's going to be hard, and that's how you get to be good at things. And the cool thing about online learning, if it's done well, not just as in isolation as technology, but as a part of a human system with faculty as well as students, is you actually can slow down and give people more time, more practice. What was it President Aoun said yesterday, time to be an idiot on, you can be an idiot on your own time, is that what he said last night, I think? And, it's a bit a funny way to say it, but the idea is you can take the time you need to get mastery.
We want to believe that the technology, the new iPhone 5S can solve all of our problems. It can allow us to be more effective and more efficient without us changing our behaviors, and that's just not true. And I think it's absolutely not true in education. I think technology is a facilitator. It's a facilitative tool. It needs to be applied appropriately, just like every other discipline that utilizes technology. And it does not replace the importance of the teacher and the teacher-student relationship, and the institution-student relationship and the institution-faculty relationship. But it can enhance it. And it should enhance it.
University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee actually did a really neat randomized controlled trial, and they're scaling it up with IES money now, where they did exactly what you described, which is, this is brick and mortar, used an LMS system to feed data to faculty member to point out which students looked like they were getting in trouble. And they even suggested emails that included both motivational characteristics as well as substantive characteristics. And they found substantial improvements in the students' performance on that course, especially students who came in less well prepared. So this is an example of a technology human data system that actually empirically, objectively works better than the original system. And it's the mix of all those things you said.
We're talking about several different things here. One is the technology that's used to provide instruction. Another one is the technology that's used to help a student understand what their program is, where they are in their program, what they have to do to finish their program, whether I've dropped this course and because of prerequisites, all of a sudden I've changed my program from a 2-year to a 3-year program. Those types of things. So that's another use of technology, which is kind of helping to guide a student along their pathway. And another one is the kind of thing we've been talking about here, which is the use of technology to understand where students' problems are, to provide early warning systems, et cetera. So I think that all of those are different. They have different potentials. They have different problems associated with them. The gap between the potential and the reality is different in all of those cases, and the road between the reality and the potential. And that in the studies that we've done, those types of students, especially men, students with low academic skills, young students, not older students, young students, those students do worse in online. That is, there's a gap. Those students already have a gap between regular students for other types of students. And with online, that gap grows.
One thing that has struck me as something we don't have our arms around, and I don't know if it's been calibrated in the study process or not. Number one, one is an impossible thing to calibrate. One is more possible. The impossible thing is, what would the studies say in terms of online interaction and some of the results if we had proper technologies to drive the behavior we're looking for? Because I would argue that the technology industry we have not created scalable, adaptive, or personalized learning tools. We have not created seamless collaboration tools that produce, that fabricate sort of that personal interaction through an online environment yet. I mean, and so that's an impossibility. You can't answer that question because it hasn't happened, as you said. The one that is possible is there's something happening in I would call it 0 to 10-year-old demographic around the way they want to interact socially and from a human to human interaction. And speaking as a father of 3 daughters, 2 of which are under 10, they're not interested in personal interaction at the same level because of the inundation that they have with digital device. My 14-year-old daughter is. She didn't grow up with an iReader, so she prefers to read with a textbook. My 8-year-old prefers to read with an iReader because when she was 4 years old learning to read, she had an iReader. There's something with very close generational changes that are going on right now that is going to favor a predisposition of that age group for more online or more virtual and less physical interaction. And I don't know if that's been considered in the process, but there's something going on that maybe we haven't calibrated yet.
Bror, very quickly.
Yeah, I think one thing to be careful about is, yes, there are new fluencies that many children are building. I mean, that's how human minds work, right? It's not a rewired brain. It's just, little kids are doing keyboards like crazy, many of them, and that they bring that with them into school. We should take advantage of that. But the other thing to be careful about is, even if many students have that, many students do not. So we've actually got to be careful about redesigning our learning environments as if everyone had an iPad grafted to them.
76% of 12 to 17-year-olds in this country own a mobile device right now.
Wow, so that means 20% don't. What are we going to do for them?
I don't know, but 76%.
No, I'm with you. So the trick is, we actually have to think about the whole
I
spectrum.
don't disagree with that, but not many don't. Many do. Most do.
But which kinds of students coming in? Which kinds of students coming in with challenges from the home front and so forth are likely to have not had those experiences before? I would argue many of the students we actually worry deeply about and that we've heard about, we have to bring into this. When you look at their backgrounds, their demographics, their access, it is more limited.
And this is not even to mention the adults ages 35, 45, 50 who are returning to school to finish their bachelor's degrees, who are also in this mix.